The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on ATD. My name is Paul Solano of the PSNL Marketing Group. And as you probably already know, I also wear another hat as General Manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. Pearl Street Station was recently featured on America's Best Restaurants from Kentucky. One reason for this huge honor is because of Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Now, Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app, so hello out there to Chef Felipe. Hello, Chef Felipe. And by the way, I'll be going down to Duxbury to the Galway Irish Girl Shop and getting some of those ingredients for the shepherd's pie you'll be making next week for that private party, for that family reunion we'll be catering. And also we'll be sampling your corned beef and cabbage dishes next weekend in St. Patrick's Day. So great job, Chef Felipe. Thank you. And also a quick shout out to Ava and Molly T and the hardworking crew over at Mary Lou's on 139 in Pembroke. They keep me going with the medium hot coffee black each week, so I thank you for that. Now, as I have continually stated over the past 13 shows, and this is show number 14, if you could believe it, it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of the Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Arthur is actually attending the funeral of his dear friend and former fellow Pembroke School Committee member Joel Sugarman this afternoon. My condolences go out to Joel's widow, Maurice, and their family. I had the pleasure of meeting Joel on occasion when visiting with Arthur on Little Sandy. Joel's late mom, Bee, was actually the key operative, if you will, at the 557 Pleasant Street elderly housing building in Malden in the 80s and the 90s when Arthur and his mom, Peg, were both running for political office in Malden as counselor at large and ward counselor, respectfully. So, Joel, rest in peace, my friend. And your mom was a great lady. I remember all those great chats I used to have with her. And by the way, she was very successful in getting Arthur and his mom elected to several terms in the Malden City Council. And as I always say, I am pleased to have Arthur as the executive consultant of Paul Ponders on WATD. And with us behind the glass is Tim.
Yes, good morning, Paul.
Hi. Tim, how are you today?
Doing fine.
I know you're making some phone calls. Sorry, I went a little bit
no,
longer.
I just made one, and it's for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be tuning in to Shelley Quite in a few minutes. And Tim Gorman's behind the glass, too. Is he still here? Hi, Tim.
Tom Gorman.
Oh, Tom.
No. Tom and Tim.
Tom and Tim.
Yeah,
that's it.
One per customer.
There you go.
No, I don't
Hi,
know.
Tom. How are you? Tom does a great job.
Yes, he does. Yes.
But, Tim, you do a great job keeping me in line. We're adding new advertisers every week. I want to thank you for keeping me in line.
Oh, no, you're welcome.
Awesome. And before I forget, I know Tom had mentioned this in his news report. Do not forget to spring ahead at 2 a.m. Yep, set your clocks 1 hour ahead. We're going to lose an hour's sleep, but I see two bright sides. It will get darker later, and we could get an hour closer and faster to my dropping episode number 57 at midnight on YouTube for Paul Ponders. Also be dropping another episode at 7 a.m., or the same episode, but it will be on Spotify, iHeartMedia, and wherever you stream your podcasts. The podcast that I have dropping at midnight on YouTube is with Mr. Richard Trotta of the Center for Citizenship and Social Responsibility, CCSR of Medford, and it's all about youth empowerment, project-based learning, and Richard is really in tune with what it takes to have an award-winning program. So I see on the line we have the Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment and a past Paul Ponders podcast guest, episode number 35. Shelley, are you there?
I am here. How are you doing today, Paul?
I am doing well, thanks. Thanks for calling in from maybe Philadelphia. Where are you?
Today we are in Fresno, California.
Wow, you're still out in California, so there's 3 hours difference here.
Yes, there's 3 hours difference.
Wow.
I was out here for an amazing conference called the Alliance for Community Media Western Region and got to speak on a few panels, so it was really nice.
Well, that's great. That's super. What's the topic of discussion on the panel today?
Well, we were discussing for today, we are going to discuss are your smart devices listening to you and your conversations and your politics?
Okay.
How to protect yourself. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Well, I look forward to hearing you. Fire away.
Yeah. So, how many of us are not only thinking about our phones, but how about our home smart setups? So, for example, how many of you are having those devices like an Alexa or the Google Homes or the Google Assist or even your Siri? You can ask them for weather information, your latest news, or even ask them to play your favorite jazz station in your home. But have you ever noticed that after a conversation in your home, you are suddenly seeing these same related ads and news and stories on your news feeds? They are not just around algorithms, but they are listening to your stuff. So what we need to make sure is we're unpacking what's really behind our smart devices that we're using, not only the ones in our hands, but the ones in our homes. So first, let's get started with the idea that I don't want to panic anybody, and I don't want to tell you to go unplug everything, but let's break down what it really means. Smart devices use what they call wake words, or to activate things such as Siri or Alexa on your devices. So they'll be like, hey, Siri, or hey, Alexa, which hopefully my device isn't going to go off. But that means they are constantly in the background listening to the noise and detecting those magic words that they're looking for. But here's the catch. They're also collecting our data, our information, the conversations we're having. And most of us don't really fully understand that. So what kind of data are they collecting? These tech experts are looking at our devices and they're recording snippets of our conversations to improve what they say is improve their services. Now, are they really doing that? But what they're really doing is analyzing our voices, our tones, and our habits. They're tracking questions that we ask that are topics of interest, and they use location services to really tailor your content specifically to you. Now, if you're coming into this and find that they're tracking anything around your discussions, such as your politics, restaurants you might like, thinking about the next thing you want to buy, but they're also tracking anything that you're searching online. They're tracking anything that where you may have gone. So like if your location area is on, they're going to track all of that and make recommendations. Again, sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's scary. So like when they think about even your photos, I know recently on the Samsung phone, Google was asking, they had do you want to maintain all the history of where you've been through your photos? And they're tracking photos, facial recognition, and all that. So again, very important to be safe. We could also talk, for example, an election candidate that you support, or a news article that you may read around politics. Your smart device is also may not only be picking up on those words, but they're shaping the content that you see online. So you need to be very careful of not closing yourself out from the rest of the world. So again, remember that the conversations you have are being rounded by these listening devices. So here's the kicker. Companies claim they don't sell your voice recordings to advertisers, but instead what they're using a term called data profiling. That means they analyze your patterns of what you say, how you interact with technology, and how they build what we're calling the digital you. So you actually have a digital profile, or what I like to call a digital footprint out there, which helps us to determine what types of media content to get pushed your way. So in today's political climate, again, there's a lot of misinformation that spreads. There's a lot of misinformation around communities that spreads. So you just want to be very careful. Again, what type of information you're putting out there. I know I had conversations with some colleagues a couple months ago about this. Facebook had, this is before they turned over to the Meta, Facebook had said, hey, post 10 photos and we'll create these beautiful photos of you, and then we'll get rid of your photos. Well, what they did is that they just transferred that data to Meta, and Facebook says, oh, we don't own your photos anymore. Well, no, because they data profiled and they sent it over to Meta. So be very careful about your own privacy and your settings and the things that you're willing to give out there. And we've talked about this in past episodes. Don't be posting your phone numbers or your addresses and those sorts of things on social media, your birth dates, because again, that's just mining information to be able to come after you. So again, just a few simple steps to talk about how to protect yourself and take control of your own digital privacy. Check your privacy settings. Most smart devices will allow you to turn off your voice recording storage. It's buried deep in the settings, but it is there, I promise. Mute your devices. So when they're not in use, you can turn off the microphone on most of your smartphones in the speaker settings. Clear your voice history. So in your Google, Apple, and Amazon devices, allow you to actually delete stored recordings from your account. If you use a VPN and adjust ad settings, this will help you limit the data that is being shared to other platforms. So it's actually going over the VPN and not necessarily your direct space. Stay informed and understand terms of services before you click accept. And just remember, I mean, in all honesty, everyone is data profiling and collecting your information. So again, be careful of what you're putting out there. And when it comes to big tech, they are spying on anything and everything you're doing. So maybe not in the way that we think of as a spy movie, but what they want us to believe is that they are listening, they are learning, and they are shaping what you are going to see. The good news is you have more control than what you think. It's up to you to take the right steps to protect yourself.
Wow. Well, Big Brother is watching over us, and we really have to really look out for that. I got a few pits in my stomach right now from hearing your very helpful tips. So how do our listeners contact you with any other questions? Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, again, we are located at info@podproentertainment.com. And, again, I just encourage everybody to always stay smart, stay private, and stay curious. So. Wow.
Well, Shelley Wolf, I thank you for calling in from Fresno, California, and enlightening us with some wonderful tips. And you'll be passing these tips along to me, and I'll be putting them on the Paul Ponders website and blog, and our listeners could log in there and find out about those tips once again.
Absolutely. And always, as always, thankful to you and to the team over there for always having me on. So we greatly appreciate it. And so big shout out to you all.
Well, thank you. #Indeed.
And #Imagine.
You got it. Safe travels, Shelley. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Sounds great. Take care, everybody.
Have a great day. Thank you. Well, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts. It's time to pay some bills. Let's hear from our sponsors. Attention WATD listeners, don't leave any money on the table. Call Performance Appraisal LLC and appraiser Arthur Boyle and Associates. Arthur may be reached at 781-293-6900 or Boyle6900 at AOL.com. Since 1994, Performance has developed many niche services ranging from appraising single-family homes to providing expert witness testimony. Again, call our own Arthur Boyle at 781-293-6900. Greetings, ATD listeners. It's Paul Solano of Paul Ponders promoting a fine wine and what to dine Italian wine tasting event to be held at the Pearl Street Station Restaurant, 53 Summer Street in Malden on Monday, March 24th from 5:30 to 7:30. This event, led by Pembroke's nationally recognized wine guru, Dave Boyle, is sponsored by the National Italian-American Sports Hall of Fame Massachusetts chapter. For ticket information of $30 per person or $50 per couple, you may contact me at paul@paulponders.com. South Street Diner, located at 178 Nealon Street, Boston, is Boston's only all-night dining destination, open 7 nights a week for late-night eats. Yep, that's 24/7 in my book. Owner Saul Seidel has grown this former iconic Blue Diner to be the place to go for keeping the party going or filling your stomachs before you head home to the South Shore or the Cape and the Islands and listen to WATD along the way home. Ask Saul about his grandmother's banana bread recipe, the Boston cream pancakes, umpteen eggs Benny offerings, and tell him that Paul Ponders sent you.
Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Bennekeesit Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you.
Have you tried Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in number is 781-837-4900, and you could also find us on the Odyssey app. And my daughter Ann is out there in California, and she's listening on the Odyssey app along with Chef Felipe. So please download that app and listen to all the wonderful programming, great programming we have here on ATD. And a shout out to all those nonprofits out there. If you want to be featured or you want some time on the Paul Ponders podcast, please email me at paul@paulponders.com. And again, you just heard the commercial about that wine tasting event in Malden on March 24th to benefit the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame Education Awards Program. It'll be a great evening, and tune in and let me know if you're interested in attending the wonderful wine tasting event. Listeners can also go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding Paul Ponders on WATD shows. Now, at this point of the program, we usually have a call-in segment called The Financial Wing of Olympic Proportion with Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, Senior Loan Officer for RibWorks Credit Union. Well, Dave's daughter surprised him and came home from out of state this weekend to celebrate her mom's birthday. So, Dave Jensen, if you're listening in, happy birthday to your wife and enjoy the family time. So, we're going to move into the nonprofit segment and all, and it's an absolute honor to have a dear friend and all-around great person on the line calling in from Florida, and his name is Mr. James Norris. James.
Paul, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, my friend. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome, my friend. Now, James Norris is the Executive Director of Handicapable Fitness, and we'll talk about his books, what he's been doing over the past few months and all, but just a quick shout-out just to let our listeners in WATD land know about the children's books that you have published. Feeling left out, feeling accepted coast to coast, and feeling like anything's possible. And these are great children's books, and people could find them on whatever websites you direct people. But James Norris, it really is a pleasure to have you calling in from Key Largo, Florida. And what have you been doing in Florida, my friend?
Well, I moved down here a few months ago just to get away from the cold, because I heard it's been pretty brutal there, so it looks like it's been a pretty good move so far. I am currently working on getting my scuba diving certification, so I scuba dive about 3 to 4 times a week, and one of the things that we're doing with Handicapable Fitness now is we're trying to get our name out there here in the Key Largo area to let people know what it is that we're doing, but one of our missions is to get people with disabilities in the water, whether that be through snorkeling or full-on scuba diving.
Thank you, James, on that. But why don't you, for those listeners out there in WATD land who have not heard of Handicapable Fitness, if you would let our listeners know a little bit about how it all came to be and about you, the great humanitarian you are.
Oh, okay, perfect. So Handicapable Fitness was developed out of my own fitness journey. I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at the age of 2.5, so I have trouble walking. but I've gone on to work in radio and that sort of thing, and I do public speaking. And then, like I said, I've been given a lot in life, so I wanted to give back to other people. So that's how I developed Handy Capable Fitness, and our mission is to help those with disabilities lead a fit and active lifestyle, however it is that they define it. So we want to be a tool for people to use to get out and live that active lifestyle. And we believe that disabilities shouldn't be barriers, so we give grants for things like fitness equipment, travel grants. We help anybody from veterans to children, really anything and everything that you can think of to live that active lifestyle. We help provide things like that. And the books that you spoke of is just another avenue, because we want kids to know. We want to subject them to disabilities that way as early as possible. That way, when they see it, when they're in their everyday lives, whether it be schools or families, it's not something that's weird to them. It's more of second nature. So these books are little bite-sized pieces of different things that have happened in my life, and then we tie it together with some type of positive takeaway. And a lot of it is, hey, there's things that make us different, no matter if you're able-bodied or handy-capable, but it's those differences that are actually our superpowers. So that's a little bit about the books.
That's fabulous, and we will, in fact, elaborate a little bit more after we have our commercial break at 12:41. But about Handy Capable Fitness, you are based out of Malden. Your headquarters are out of Malden, Mass., right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And you're a proud graduate of Malden High School?
Yes, 2004, many moons ago.
It wasn't that far back, wasn't that? But you said you worked in radio. So if you want to let us know about those days.
I did. So I worked for Greater Media, who's now Beasley. I worked there for about 7 years doing production and promotion. So I put together the commercials and all the sound effects and everything that you basically hear on the radio besides Paul's amazing voice. That's one of the things that I did. It was one of the best times of my life and something that I really did enjoy. Unfortunately, once COVID all happened, just like a lot of people got laid off, but it's truly the best thing that's ever happened because it opened up the doors to doing the work with Handy Capable Fitness and traveling the country, doing the motivational speaking, and then writing the book. So I firmly believe that everything happens for a reason. But radio definitely holds a place in my heart for sure. Without a doubt.
And we're coming up on a break, but I want you to hold this thought about how you came to be with your trip out to California and then making it back and making Handy Capable Fitness what it is. So if you don't mind holding on through the commercial break, it would be fabulous, and we'll be right back at you, okay?
Sure thing.
You got it. Now let's hear from our sponsors. Attention WATD listeners, don't leave any money on the table. Call Performance Appraisal LLC and appraiser Arthur Boyle and Associates. Arthur may be reached at 781-293-6900 or Boyle6900 at AOL.com. Since 1994, Performance has developed many niche services ranging from appraising single-family homes to providing expert witness testimony. Again, call our own Arthur Boyle at 781-293-6900. Greetings, ATD listeners. It's Paul Solano of Paul Ponders promoting a fine wine and what to dine Italian wine tasting event to be held at the Pearl Street Station Restaurant, 53 Summer Street in Malden on Monday, March 24th from 5:30 to 7:30. This event, led by Pembroke's nationally recognized wine guru, Dave Boyle, is sponsored by the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame Massachusetts chapter. For ticket information of $30 per person or $50 per couple, you may contact me at paul@paulponders.com.
Have you tried Brianville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Brianville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakisset Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. Again, the call-in number is 781-837-4900. And on the line, I have the illustrious Mr. James Norris, Executive Director of Handicapable Fitness. James, how are you?
I'm great, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Still living the dream and missing our every Monday morning breakfast at Franny's in Malden. But at least we're chatting today, and we have to reconnect about some future writings down the road.
Absolutely, my friend. I miss you, too.
Absolutely.
Mondays aren't the same without you.
Same here. Ditto. Now, I alluded to you move out to California, and we'll call it a transformation of how your life just changed and evolved. So if you want to bring our listeners into that world.
Okay, perfect. So I ended up moving out to California because my dad's job transferred him out there. And then originally that's where I was born, so I still have most of my family lives there in Massachusetts, but I still have some family there in California. So it was kind of a little bit of a homecoming. But at the same time, it was a very difficult time in my life because, I had all my friends back here or back in Boston, and I basically had to start life over again. But now that I look back on it, it really did shape who I was. I had some great experiences out there, made some really good friends. I even had the opportunity to do a little bit of radio work there in California as well. So that was a great experience, but it really did also shape my fitness journey because I fell into a depression a little bit. Like I had said before, it was a very difficult time, and I began to gain weight and then ended up moving back to Malden after a year, and that's when I found fitness, and kind of the rest is history. I worked out at Mike Boyle Strength and Conditioning there in Woburn. They got me up and walking for the first time ever with a walker, which was amazing. And like I said previously, it was this fitness journey that led me to create Handicapable Fitness and all the work that we're doing now.
That is absolutely fabulous with that journey that you've been on, and we'll call it an autobiography. Your autobiography is being portrayed through the children's books that you've written so far. And again, the first one was Feeling Left Out. So that was book number one. So tell us about book number one.
Book number one, Feeling Left Out, really focuses on my time in elementary school, where I was kind of new to the disability world a little bit, because it kind of hit me in the face, because I saw all my classmates running around playing, and obviously I couldn't play the same way that they could. So I did feel left out. And one of Jimmy's classmates, saw him getting upset and ended up going up and talking to him, and then they sparked a friendship and started laughing and joking, and the rest of the class heard it. And next thing you know, everybody kind of became friends with Jimmy, and then so he had all these new friends, and he realized that his disability was actually his superpower, because he knows that not everybody looks like him, so he can go up and teach them different things and engage with them in a different way than an able-bodied person can. But then Feeling Accepted Coast to Coast picks up there because it documents Jimmy's move to California. So he was excited about all that, and then but he had just made all these new friends. Now he basically had to start his life over again there in California and develop new friendships and new relationships. So it was a very scary time. But then we also tied in the lonely bug, aka COVID, and the takeaway from that book is that Jimmy's classmates had to do the learning online, so they felt isolated. Well, handicapped people, a lot of them feel isolated due to their disability, so Jimmy was able to talk to them and give them coping mechanisms on how to deal with not being able to see their friends face to face. So that's kind of the takeaway of that book and documenting his move there to California and starting a whole new friend group. Book number 3, Feeling Like Anything's Possible, documents Jimmy's dream to work in radio. And he had some difficulties, but the takeaway from that is that if you work hard and really put your mind to it, really anything is possible.
I love it. I love it. Now, these books are available on what websites?
These books are available on Amazon or wherever you get your books, BarnesandNoble.com. But we also have a dedicated website, Flow for Kids, FLO, the number 4, kids.com. There we have stickers, merchandise. We also have lesson plans that we created for the education systems because thankfully our books are in a couple school districts back there in Boston, and we're looking to expand. So if anybody's interested, again, you can get them on Amazon or our dedicated website, Flow, FLO, for kids.com.
Awesome. And I do know that there are lots of school systems that are, in fact, looking at maybe incorporating this into their curriculum or having you as a guest speaker for next year, starting up in September, as they're starting to budget for next fiscal year. So that's awesome. Now, of course, you got 3 down. Yeah, I think you have 2 or 3 more left in the queue.
We'll see. At least 2 more. At least 2 more. I'm currently working, and I'm almost done with book number 4. Book number 4 really focuses around Jimmy's move to Key Largo and his newfound love of scuba diving and getting people to realize that you can get in the ocean and you can see all this amazing marine life and do something that, again, similar to book number 3, that anything is truly possible. Because up until when I started scuba diving about a year ago, never in a million years did I think I'd be in the ocean seeing sharks, turtles, all the amazing coral. It truly is a different world down there. So we want to bring that world up here to show kids that they too, no matter their disability, whether it's a spinal cord injury, cerebral palsy, or something else, you can get in the ocean. And it's one of the most freeing experiences that one can experience.
That is tremendous. We're going to have to let our friends at Gotham Whale know about this, and we'll have to get them involved with this 4th book as well.
Most definitely. Shout out to everybody. Paul over at Gotham Whale, Bob, they do some great work, so definitely get behind them and what it is that they do, because they're genuine great people.
Without a doubt. And I'd be remiss if I do not publicly thank an underwriter and sponsor of the 3 books so far, the Adelaide Breed Baird Foundation from Malden, who has been very generous in their support of the 3 books thus far, and also any of the sponsors who you have picked up along the way to help you out with the promotions of the books.
Absolutely, my friend.
Absolutely.
Adelaide Breed has been amazing, and I can't thank them enough, and all the sponsors. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this possible.
Absolutely. Now, I want to hear a little bit more about in the 6 minutes that we have left, about this FLO for Kids curriculum you have. Tell us about what a typical classroom curriculum would look like.
Okay, so we developed different activities that teachers can use with their students. So one of the things that we've done is we created a kindness tree where the students take their hand and they do a sketch of their hand, and then they use it as a leaf to hang on the tree. But before they hang it on the tree, they write down an instance to where either somebody showed them kindness or they showed kindness to somebody else. And the whole premise of this tree, once the leaves are on it, is that kindness is what truly brings us all together. And kindness is actually all of our superpowers, along with the things that make us different and unique in our own way.
That's so true. So you have that superpower, and you have this on a merchandise, I believe?
Yes. So we have stickers, bookmarks, and any other apparel that people would like. We have shirts available, hoodies, whatever it is. You just have to contact us there at Flow for Kids, and we also offer a free version of our lesson plans. That way, educators and school districts can kind of get an idea of what it is that they're getting firsthand, and they can actually put it into practical use. And then if they want to take it a step further, that is also available for purchase as well.
Super. Now, besides finding in-depth episodes on Paul Ponders, episodes number 4 and number 34 on paulponders.com, also available on Spotify and iHeartMedia, how do our listeners out there contact you?
You can visit handycapablefitness.com, HANDICAPABLE, fitness.com, and that has all of our social media links, our email, and email is probably the best way to get in contact with us to let us know how best we can serve you. As Paul said, I do travel the country speaking to kids, so if you want to book me through there, or you need book information, whatever it is, if you'd like to donate to the overall mission of Handicapable Fitness itself, so that we can get handicapable people active in whatever way they dream of, you can make your donations there. We're official 501c3, so you get a tax receipt for your generous donation, and you can find out more about our mission.
Absolutely. And also, too, I believe your Instagram presence is incredible. So do you have an Instagram tagline you want to pass along?
Yeah, so it's handy_capable_fitness.
Gotcha. Yeah, you really put out some really powerful, motivating messages. You really do. And
thank you, my friend.
Yeah, just incredible. I am blown away with all the stuff that you have, in fact, accomplished throughout the years. And I know our friend Hank Morse is possibly listening, and he's one of our colleagues. And Hank's a great guy, and he and his dad always speak so highly of you.
Hey, you know what? The mission of Handicapable Fitness and who I am today as a person would not exist without people like yourself, Hank, and so many other people. So I'm truly a melting pot of you guys, so thank you so much.
Thank you, James. So again, one last time, how do our listeners contact you?
handycapablefitness.com or Flow, FLO, 4, kids.com, if you're interested in the books.
That is fabulous. So, James Norris, I want to thank you for calling in. Safe travels, safe diving. Just look out for the sharks and any marine life that's down there. And you just never cease to amaze me, my friend.
Thank you, my friend, and I really appreciate you having me.
You're welcome. My pleasure, and we will talk soon, okay?
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and be well. Bye-bye now. Thank you. Yes, so that's James Norris, just an incredible individual. And if you ever have a chance to hear him speak, he's just a great motivational speaker. I've heard some really great motivational speakers throughout the years. I think of Chris Herron. I've heard Chris speak on many occasions, Dave McGillivray. But James Norris really nails it with his motivational chat, and just an incredible individual. And do, in fact, check out those books on Amazon and also on James' website. Just a quick mention I did not mention earlier about the 2025 Beneath the Sea Dive, Travel, and Oceans Exposition. That's March 28th to the 30th at the Meadowlands Exposition Center. Our friends at Project142.org, Scott Albertson, has in fact been promoting this with our friends from Gotham Whale. I believe that Scott Albertson and Paul C. Sweater and Bob Hilberg are going to be joining up on a seminar, on a presentation. So that's the 2025 Beneath the Sea Dive, Travel, and Oceans Exposition, March 28th to the 30th. What else do we have here? We have, I should, I'll promote this now, but on Saturday, April 19th, we have the Boston Bruins versus the Boston Bruins alumni in the Boston Strong All-Stars facing off in a charity hockey game, and that's going to be at the Larson Rink at the Ruzioni Center in Winthrop. And I'm involved with the planning of this, and I don't know if Dave Jensen will be there. Actually, I have to speak to Rob about the timing on this date. It's on a Saturday, but it's something where it's going to feature Bruins legends Bob Sweeney, Kenny Hodge Jr., Andrew Alberts, Ken Linsman, Al Peterson, and a surprise guest. So reach out to Paul at paulponders.com for more information on that. Now, at this point, I need you to stay tuned to WATD for the Memories with Ron Dwyer, the grand poobah of oldies rock and roll. Ron, you are a true leader of the pack and great musical memories of yesteryear. So thank you, Ron. Listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders on WATD shows. Thanks again to Tim, Arthur Boyle, and our advertisers. But really, thank you, listeners in WATD world and beyond. Keep Paul pondering. #Indeed.